Okay, so, you've built this law firm to fight for your clients, to navigate that crazy legal world and
Yeah.
ultimately to win cases. But if you're like a lot of the firms we've talked to, you're probably finding that a lot of your time and a ton of your energy is
Hmm.
getting sucked away just trying to keep the lights on at the firm.
Yeah,
Like all the admin stuff, all the headaches from staffing, just this feeling that you're
reciprocated.
managing operations more than you're actually practicing law.
Yeah, for sure.
Does that sound familiar?
All the time.
Yeah. So for today's deep dive, we've been looking at some stuff from Servtec Global Solutions,
Okay.
and they've been really thinking about those operational problems that law firms are dealing with.
Hmm.
And they've put together this kind of unique approach to scaling up in a smarter way.
Interesting.
Our goal today is to break down those core problems,
Okay.
explore their strategies, and we really want you listening to come away with a clearer idea of if your firm is, ready to really expand or if you're just kind of keeping your head above water,
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
which is how Servtec puts it.
Okay. So let's just jump right into it.
Okay.
What does this operational friction thing actually look like in your day-to-day work?
Well, one of the biggest problems, according to Servtec, is the sheer volume of non-billable work
Uh-huh.
that ends up on attorneys' plates. I mean, think about it. Endless documents for every single case. These
Yeah.
slow internal processes, all that stuff just eats up time that could be spent on, you know,
Right.
billable hours and really strategic legal work.
Yeah, totally. And if you're constantly just swimming in that admin overload,
Right.
I mean, it's got to make it so much harder to focus on crafting your case strategy
Hmm.
and really giving your clients that top-notch advocacy.
Absolutely. And then you've got the whole staffing nightmare.
Don't get me started.
For so many firms, hiring and then scaling the team just feels like this constant drain. It's
Yeah.
not just the financial cost, but it's the time spent finding people, onboarding them, managing them. It just pulls you away from the actual legal work that drives everything forward.
100%. Have you found that too?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so when your team is stretched so thin dealing with all of this, what happens?
Well, cases take longer, right?
Right.
And for anybody listening to this, that means frustrated clients, and I'm sure that's not what anybody wants.
No, it's not. So we've touched on, some of those daily frustrations, but let's dig a little deeper.
Yeah.
What are the big challenges that actually create this operational friction in the first place?
I think a big one, and I bet this is something that you think about a lot, is just the rising cost of running a law firm.
For sure.
I mean, Servtec is pointing to huge expenses in salaries, benefits,
Mm-hmm.
just the office space, and then all the HR stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to put a squeeze on profitability.
No doubt. And connected to all those costs is that mountain of non-billable work.
Yes.
You've got client intake, all the paperwork for each case, even the legal research to start things off. Super talented attorneys are spending hours on stuff that doesn't directly bring in money.
Right.
Does that sound familiar?
Definitely. And I think what's interesting is how these problems kind of make each other worse.
Right.
So, for example, the fact that it's so hard to find skilled legal professionals
Mm-hmm.
just makes that non-billable work even more overwhelming.
Yeah, if you're short-staffed, the attorneys you do have end up doing even more admin work.
Exactly, because there's nobody else to do it. And then you've got the crazy cost of just trying to find and keep good people.
It's like a catch-22.
It really is.
And then what happens when your caseload changes?
Oh, yeah.
Legal work is not predictable. You could get slammed with cases and then it could go quiet.
Right.
It's hard to adapt to that with traditional staffing,
Yeah.
You're either understaffed when you're busy or you're overstaffed when it's quiet.
Yeah, you're either scrambling or you're paying people to sit around.
Exactly. Have you seen that happen a lot?
Oh, all the time. And on top of that, think about the time crunch.
Yeah.
I mean, law firms are always working crazy hours. Yeah.
Right, deadlines, urgent stuff comes up.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And if your operational support just disappears after 5 o'clock,
Right.
it's just going to lead to more missed opportunities and even more delays for clients.
Totally. Okay, so we've laid out the problems, the day-to-day grind, the bigger issues.
The struggles.
So let's talk about the solution that Servtec Global Solutions is putting forward.
Okay.
They're calling themselves a provider of permanent staff augmentation and specialized managed services designed just for law firms.
Okay.
So what does that actually mean?
Well, the key here is understanding how this is different from just, hiring temps.
Right.
Servtec is talking about a more long-term, integrated way to build your workforce.
Okay,
These augmented staff members become a real part of your team.
gotcha.
They get better training, they understand your firm better, and it just becomes way more efficient.
So it's not a Band-Aid, it's like a...
Right. It's a long-term strategy,
Gotcha.
a real partnership.
So it's not just filling a gap, it's about creating a more stable and a more efficient foundation for everything.
Exactly.
And they talk about a few ways their approach is different.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things is potential cost savings of up to 70%.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's a big claim. What are they talking about there?
Well, when you look at where those savings come from, it actually starts to make sense.
Okay.
They're saying you can cut down on costs associated with traditional hiring, like recruitment fees.
Yeah.
All the time and money you spend training new people, the overhead of office space and equipment, and then all the ongoing costs of benefits in HR,
Yeah.
you could potentially get rid of a lot of that.
They also talk about providing dedicated legal support teams.
Yeah, this isn't just about hiring virtual assistants here and there.
Right.
This is about having entire teams ready to go with specific expertise like legal assistants, intake specialists, billing experts, even case managers.
So how could that benefit a firm?
Well, the big thing is speed
Yeah.
and structure. Instead of starting from scratch hiring, training, building a team, you're plugging into a team that's already up and running, and they already get what law firms need.
And that efficiency leads to faster turnaround times for cases, right?
Exactly.
So you've got dedicated pros handling all the admin stuff, which frees up the attorneys to actually, do the lawyering.
Right, exactly.
Which means cases move faster.
And happier clients.
And happier clients. What about the impact on the legal team themselves?
Oh, that's huge.
Yeah.
Servtec is saying that this can actually reduce burnout.
Oh, wow.
If your attorneys aren't always drowning in paperwork, they're going to be more focused, more engaged,
Right.
better at their jobs, and a lot less likely to burn out and quit.
That's huge.
Employee retention is a massive problem for a lot of firms.
Absolutely.
So anything that makes people happier and less stressed is a win.
Absolutely. Another big thing they highlight is access to a global talent pool.
Oh yeah, that opens up a lot of doors.
Right. You're not limited to just your local area.
It's about finding the best people with the right skills no matter where they are.
Exactly. And they're not sacrificing quality.
No, not at all.
It's about finding the right experience. And they say they can bring people on in days, not weeks or months.
Wow, that's fast. How quickly do you usually need to scale up or fill a position?
That kind of speed could be a game changer, especially if we suddenly get slammed with work or somebody leaves.
For sure.
And then they talk about 247 productivity.
So they've got teams all over the world.
Right.
Which means work can keep going even when your office is closed.
Think about what that means for deadlines and being there for your client.
Dude, right. You're not losing a whole day just because it's nighttime somewhere.
Exactly. And finally, they really emphasize the security and making sure the integration is seamless.
Yeah, they're talking about secure environments, confidentiality, and not messing up your existing workflows.
That's got to be a big concern for any law firm.
Of course.
Okay, so those are the advantages they're talking about, but what does this look like in the real world?
Good question.
Servtec actually shares a story about a mid-sized law firm that used their services. And the results are pretty impressive. 70% reduction in operational costs.
Wow.
20% increase in billable hours.
That's huge.
And 50% faster case resolution.
That's incredible.
Those are some serious numbers.
They really are.
And they say all these improvements came directly from the firm outsourcing their back office and admin stuff to Servtec.
So the firm's legal team could actually focus on, doing what they do best.
Exactly.
Getting results for their clients and winning cases.
It really shows you how this could actually work.
Yeah, it does.
And it brings us back to their main point in today's world. The law firms that are doing really well, they're not just working more hours, they're working smarter.
Right.
And they're saying that using their services can help you do that.
It's about getting that competitive edge.
Yeah, lower costs, higher productivity, and just a more sustainable practice overall.
Makes a lot of sense.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, let's go back to that big question we started with. Is your firm built to grow, or are you just barely surviving?
It's a good question to ask yourself.
After looking at all these challenges, the workload, the staffing issues, the costs, does any of this sound familiar?
Yeah, be honest with yourself.
And Servtec actually has a couple of things you can do if you're interested.
Oh yeah, like what?
The first thing is they have a free efficiency audit.
Free?
Yeah, an expert comes in and looks at your workflows and figures out where you're losing time and money.
That's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, it's a low-risk way to get some good insights.
Totally.
The other thing they suggest is booking a strategy call.
Okay.
You can talk through your firm's specific needs and challenges, and they'll help you figure out a custom plan for scaling up and boosting profits without burning out your team.
Yeah, that sounds really helpful.
So here's a final thought for you to consider. What would be possible for your firm if your legal team could really focus most of their time and energy on the strategy and on working directly with clients
Hmm.
instead of being buried in paperwork?
Yeah.
How could that change not only how your firm grows, but also how you achieve that core mission of, fighting for justice and serving your clients?
That's something to really think about.
It is. It's that mission that probably made you want to be a lawyer in the first place.
That's so true.
So it's worth thinking about how to get back to that.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into making your law firm as efficient as possible.
Thanks for having me.
We'll see you next time.
See ya.